A very good evening and welcome to the 8 p.m. news broadcast brought to you by Eswatini TV. My name is Nondobego Nzabgelwago and I'm together with Nomakabiso Ngambule. Let's take a look at tonight's headlines. Third surviving member of Umsizi who fought in the Second World War has received gifts from His Majesty King Eswatini III. The Deputy Prime Minister says the church and government can play a huge role in ending teenage pregnancy in schools. The Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade says the new project that will support grassroots level women in the country will strengthen and ensure cooperation among Emaswati when doing business. The news in detail. The third and last surviving member of Umsizi that fought in the Second World War has received gifts from His Majesty King Eswatini III. The gifts were presented to 97-year-old Moses Khumalo by the Deputy Prime Minister Themba Masuku on behalf of His Majesty at Tlatikulu in the Eswatini region.
The Deputy Prime Minister's office has continued with presenting gifts from His Majesty King Eswatini III to soldiers that fought in the World War. Speaking during the gift presentation at the Khumalo homestead, where he was presenting the gifts to 97-year-old Moses Khumalo, the Deputy Prime Minister says the King knows all three soldiers that are still alive and he honors and values the commitment and courage they displayed, and for that he will always take care of them.
Ithi-ke ngwenyama yemaswati ngisho ukuthi impilo yalabantu labadzala neyemaswati onke jikelele uyibeka embili. Uthi-ke unikhumbula kakhulu ngoba ningemaqhawe.
The regional administrator of the Eswatini region, Dr. Vincent Mhlanga, thanked His Majesty King Eswatini III for showing his love to the legends through the gifts.
Sibonga kakhulu kabi kuba kangwane ukuthi basike bakhumbule labantu abadala. Nathi siyathi nje ukuthi inkosi yethu yathi lo mncane, yathi lo mkhulu, yathi lo mbakanani, wonke umuntu hlele kamnandi evela kangwane. Siyadibongela kakhulu.
The Deputy Prime Minister Themba Masuku says the King asked him to highlight an important time in history that happened in 1947 when King George of England had a royal visit to the Eswatini region to meet with King Sobhuza II to thank the soldiers that served and fought at the World War. Masuku says Eswatini is the only country that boasts this important event in history. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, Sifiso Ngumalo with Smuva Shongwe, Tlatikulu.
Deputy Prime Minister Themba Masuku says young girls are being taken advantage of by old men who impregnate them. Masuku said this after he mentioned that at least 261 girls fell pregnant during the national partial lockdown, which resulted in schools being closed. Masuku says the church and government can play a vital role in ending this.
Deputy Prime Minister Themba Masuku says the pupils who have been impregnated since schools closed due to COVID-19 did not deserve what happened to them. Masuku says what befell there are at least 261 pupils, who include 44 primary school pupils, will scar them for a long time. Masuku says this wrongdoing happens right in front of everyone.
Some of the victims of abuse endure sleepless nights. Some live a life of perpetually blaming themselves, and some, because of abuse, abandon their career path. These effects are incurable. I find the young girls who are pregnant, of course, there are those monsters who are probably my age who also get involved. But most of them are the age mates or somewhere in the young boys who need to be mentored, make sure that we get it right.
Manzini Regional Administrator Chief Gija says COVID-19 is a major enemy that has affected all sectors.
Sisesikhathini lapho ku-COVID khona. Lapho i-COVID ngithatha ukuthi mina ngisathana lomkhulu. Emhlabeni lo wehlile. Wehle sathane watosimuka konke lesinako.
Chairman of the Council of Swaziland Churches, Begindlela Magongo, says COVID-19 affected the public outreach programs they have at the council.
Si focus also mhlonishwa enzabeni lekuniketa advices, legal advices and counseling. Lihhovisi lethu lelapha eMandlenkosi building lihlala libhizi mhlonishwa.
This was all said during the organization's 44th anniversary, which was held in Manzini. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosima Vimbela, Fairview, Manzini.
Deputy Prime Minister Themba Masuku says men should stand up and take their place in society. Masuku says the time has come for men to be part of finding solutions to societal problems, which include gender-based and domestic violence. The DPM said this during the International Men's Day launch at his offices.
Today being the 19th of November, the world is commemorating the International Men's Day. This day was also celebrated in the country as it was launched by Deputy Prime Minister Themba Masuku today in Mbabane. Masuku says the time has come that men take their place in life and be part of finding solutions to societal ills.
Sinemadoda sibukeka ngathi silahlekelwa ngilabafana bethu nalabantu bethu sithi kasukumeni sonke sisonzele.
Head of the United Nations Population Fund in Eswatini, Margaret Twala Dembe, says issues of gender equality are important to them. Dembe says this is also in line with Sustainable Development Goal 17, which speaks to partnership.
Babesimkhandla adlala indima lenkulu lapho ngokuthi avumele make ukuthi bahlale phansi bakhulumise tindzaba nekuhlelisa umndeni make angadzingi ukuthi aze afihle nangabe ahlelisa umndeni.
There was emphasis on that violence has no place in families, but people should rather solve problems through dialogue. Men were also encouraged to teach their male children Swazi traditions that promote good mentorship of boys. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosima Vimbela, Mbabane.
The Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade, Mangoba Kumalo, says the new project, which aims to support grassroots-level women in the country, will strengthen and ensure cooperation among Emaswati when doing business. The minister was speaking during the launch of the capacity building project for microfinance, focusing on grassroots women in the country, which was held at the Mountain Inn Hotel in Mbabane.
The government of Eswatini, together with the Republic of Taiwan, have started a joint project targeting grassroots-level women in the kingdom. The project aims to empower women entrepreneurship skills and improving their financial literacy. The Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade, Mangoba Kumalo, says the project will help in addressing issues of financial inclusion, which has been lagging behind as far as people at grassroots level are concerned.
It is therefore exciting to once again see a launch of a project implementation with our good friend Taiwan, which targets one of the key players in the economic transformation of the country. And in this particular case, we are speaking about women at the grassroots. I am told that this project is divided into two phases. Phase 1 being 3 years of capacity building, and phase 2 being a credit loan facility with very, very low and affordable interest rates.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Tulsile Dladla, gave thanks to the government of Taiwan for always assisting the Kingdom of Eswatini in sustainable development and encourages women to do their best in the project.
This project is important, not only because it recognizes and seeks to actualize the vision of Her Majesty, the Queen Mother, a woman of passion, a woman who would like to see Kutsala Mfati taking off. And she's so determined to see her vision.
The Taiwan ambassador Jeremy Liang says Taiwan will continue to assist the kingdom in ensuring sustainable development and that this project is of great importance as it will play a huge role in better harnessing economic potential for women in the country.
More women will soon have the confidence to join the ranks of self-employed while enhancing business skills and financial literacy.
The Commissioner of Cooperatives Development, Nonhlanhla Mnisi, says they will ensure the project is successful by ensuring all operations are executed well. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Temalang Ndlamini with Muslim Konda in Babane.
Minister of Public Service Christian Jangase has tabled in Parliament an audit report of government pool and institutional houses which shows that there are 930 government pool houses. The report states that 24 civil servants defaulted in paying rent, while 102 underpaid rent. After debating the report, the House adopted it.
The audit report of government pool and institutional houses states that there are 930 government pool houses occupied by 990 civil servants. A total of 24 civil servants were found to have not paid rent at all, while 102 underpaid rent. Minister of Public Service Christian Jangase says employees who have not been paying rent and underpaying it have already been served with notification letters and they are now repaying government. The minister then mentioned that the report also has positives.
Minister of Finance, the cabinet yonke nendiyo iyadinga ukwazi ukuthi mase dispose of lezi zinto yona le game house 821 ivalue yayo ingubani. The evaluation report asinayo capacity yokwenza. If it was in our powers.
Members of Parliament then debated the report.
Ngiyasola nginako lokusola ukuthi ngenteka letindlu kube ine kakhulu tindlu yahulumende umbetheze kubaleke njani mangisho njalo mfundisi lepo sanje letindlu phansi sithi shayline dishona le la so yahulumende leyasesiyo yahulumende leyasesi kanti yahulumende tonke letindlu lapho ukuthi akuthunyelwe mkonzisi bakonisha kuyophenywa lokho sibhambambamba indlu ingakhi ngeke indlu dikokomane kangathi kwatakho ukuthi ubhedo kudinye vele ukugeke kufana sector njani emhlonishwa emkonzisi nkulumo ngiqenga mina namsengilalelo nje kubuye
legacy nje speaker sekuhlala bozidlali ihlala lokho nalo sokusho ukuthi ngabe kulandelelwe kanjani kuze uhulumende sathi ngoba kugcine nje kwagcine sekusuka i-dispute lokuthi labanye bomake bathi baphiwa uhulumende wethu.
After debating the report, the House then adopted it. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosima Vimbela, Lobamba.
The Minister of Tourism, Moses Vilagati, says Eswatini still needs adequate plan of action to tackle climate change and its threats in the country. Vilagati was speaking at the Happy Valley Hotel at an inception of capacity building initiative for transparency with tourism stakeholders. Today's meeting follows last week's meeting where stakeholders met to secure funds for fighting climate change.
Climate change is still a global problem, with Eswatini not spared from its effects. Eswatini has taken strides on climate action, including formulation of the necessary policy framework. The Minister of Tourism, Moses Vilagati, partook in an inception workshop of the Capacity Building Initiative for Transparency. The minister highlights, amongst other things, Eswatini's achievements, including the National Climate Change Policy.
We therefore need a plan of action that is adequate to tackle climate threats that we face, and we need to action with greater sense of urgency. His Majesty's government has taken strides in climate action, including the formulation of the necessary policy framework. This includes, but not limited to, the National Climate Change Policy, the National Climate Change Strategy, and the Action Plan, which was approved by Cabinet in 2016. We are currently formulating the National Climate Change Bill, which is expected to enhance national coordination of climate change action in the country. And would like you to have an input to this.
He says currently they are formulating the National Climate Change Bill, which will enhance the coordination of climate change in the country. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Kian Msibi, Ezulwini.
We will now take a look at a statement from the Ministry of Home Affairs. The Ministry of Home Affairs wishes to notify the public that La Vumisa border post has been closed indefinitely. This is due to an ongoing protest by RSA border officials. In a statement issued by the Principal Secretary, Nhlanhla Nxumalo, it is not immediately known how long this action will take, and consequently, all cross-border traffic for this area must be redirected to Mahamba border. Nxumalo says the nation is advised to use alternative borders, i.e. Ngwenya, Mahamba, Matamo, and Mananga when traveling to South Africa until the reopening of the La Vumisa border post is announced. Any inconvenience caused by the sudden development is deeply regretted. The Minister of Natural Resources, Peter Bembe, has thanked the Trade and Development Bank for financially supporting Eswatini in providing clean water. Bembe was represented by the Principal Secretary in the Ministry, Dorcas Dlamini, during the official handover of rehabilitated water scheme at Bulanzeni known as Somile Benguni Domestic Water Project.
Somile Benguni water scheme at Bulanzani area in the whole region was started in 1990. 10 years later, it faced challenges and it was difficult for it to continue, and thus it fell apart. Members went up and down asking for donations and assistance to rehabilitate the project, but to no luck. The Minister of Natural Resources visited the project where it was officially handed over to the members. The Minister of Natural Resources, Peter Bembe, who was represented by the Principal Secretary in the Ministry, Dorcas Dlamini, thanked the members for never giving up despite challenges they faced and for being patient.
Kuba khona kwalomsebenzi sekwende ukuthi size sisale sihamba libanga lelifishane kuya lapho kutholakala khona eMandi lahlobile. Kuphindze kwanciphisa netingoti lebetingaba khona lapho sive sihamba libanga lelidze kuyothola imali. Kwaphindze kwaveta nesikhathi sekwenda leminye imisebenzi yentuthuko emakhaya. Siyathi bonke ukuthi ngesikhathi kude eMandi, esikhathini lesiningi sihamba sigaba leside semfuleni. Ufike emfuleni ukhanze amanzi asangcolile angcoliswe imfuyo.
The minister says the rehabilitated project has seen people traveling shorter distances to fetch water. He says the completion of the project achieves the King's vision of 2022 of clean water. The scheme was financially supported by the Trade and Development Bank. The bank's director, Busisiwe Nsibande, says they have invested in over 1 million Malangeni in similar water projects around the country.
Jabulile kakhulu TTB ukuthi asekele lo msebenzi ngesikhathi eMandi ladzingeka kangaka ikakhulu kulendzawo yaseBulanzeni. TTB uyajabula kakhulu. Tholile netibongo siva nemlandvo weMandi kulendzawo ukuthi TTB ufike just at the right time.
Victor Mahlalela from the National Disaster Management Agency, who represented the CEO, says when Emaswati have no water and scarcity in accessing water, it becomes a disaster, but they are grateful what the ministry has done.
Somile Benguni isebenzise imali lengetulu kwa 470,000 yokuthi ku rehabilitate le scheme lesizala lebesolo sikhona.
Joseph Tego, the scheme's CEO, says it had been hard. Bulanzeni is a place with no nearby streams or rivers, therefore water was scarce. They are therefore happy for such assistance from the ministry and the development bank.
Ngoba lenzawo yaseBulanzeni isihlenge kude umfula edudane. Indzawo lengenamfula kude umfula lo enca khona nemithombo la ikhona sekwasha konke. Sekude nje manje siphila ngemande edigulumba la.
He promises that they will ensure that the water scheme does not face similar challenges again. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Kian MCB Visuals from the Natural Resources.
One of the managers at African Alliance, Eswatini Gininza, says as a private sector, they are determined to achieve government's vision of a private sector-led economy by providing job opportunities and expanding shops in the country. Gininza was speaking at Malkans during the official opening at Westpac Express stores.
Malkans Square is slowly developing, at the same time changing the face and economy of Malkans as a town. This follows the official opening of Westpac Express stores at Malkans Square. This comes with job opportunities where about 20 have already been hired at the newly opened shop. Earlier this year, Pick n Pay was also opened at Malkans Square and many local residents were hired. Eswatini Gininza, one of the managers at African Alliance, says theirs is to be in line with government's economic recovery strategy by being a private sector-led economy. Therefore, they will continue providing job opportunities for Eswatini.
Ulandzela umgomo wahulumende we-COVID-19 recovery. Lothi sibuke ema-investments lang-30 billion emalangeni, of which 7 billion wahulumende, 23 billion were private sector. We do believe that the economy mbamba is driven by private sector. So what you see here is private sector driven. You will see nje lokho sivula lo Westpac namuhla in 2 weeks time embabane silungisela i-drive-through lensha ya KFC. Ngoba under COVID sifundzile ukuthi bantu bafundzile ukuthi ungathi lokuthenga efasteni ngcono usemotweni for COVID and other things and for convenience. We actually have opened more titolo under COVID than otherwise. We had both taken COVID.
He says they have provided job opportunities to over 2,000 Eswatini in different parts of the country. He says the COVID-19 pandemic might have had negative impacts on people, but they used it to create jobs and expand Malkans amongst other towns. He says they will continue to do the same in other places as well. Malkans Town Port Mayor Bill Fitzpatrick welcomes this development.
We welcome this because it's brought employment for our people. As you can see, the ambience is very nice in what we want to do here in Malkans. We welcome this because it's brought employment. We welcome the development across there where we want to bring more people into our town. And hopefully this is going to see Malkans going further. There are further developments that will be coming, so we are the progressive new town in Eswatini.
The economy of Malkans has changed since such development came. For Eswatini TV News, I am Kian MCB with Ngamiso Shabangu, Malkans.
Let's take a look at the COVID-19 update from the Ministry of Health. The Ministry of Health has reported 12 new confirmed COVID-19 cases in the last 24 hours. In a statement issued by the ministry, a total of 422 results were received today, out of which 12 tested positive for coronavirus, bringing the total number of COVID-19 cases to date to 6,156. The report shows that there are 119 active cases, 5,831 have recovered, 119 have died, 12 have been registered for care. Looking at the cumulative confirmed COVID-19 cases by region, Manzini region has 2,744 cases, Hoho region has 2,347 cases, Lubombo region has 548 cases, while the Shiselweni region has 517 cases of coronavirus. In our sports news tonight, the Eswatini under-17 team was defeated by South Africa with a score of 2-0 in the first game of the COSAFA under-17 tournament that is being played at Galvindale Stadium in South Africa.
The COSAFA Under-17 team, who are competing in the COSAFA Under-17 tournament, had big hopes of doing better than last year's competition, where they finished fourth after reaching the semi-finals of the tournament. This year, they played their first game against the host nation, South Africa. It was South Africa who came out gun-blazing from the first minute of the game. As they created the better chances, it was not a surprise when they took the lead just before half-time. In the second half, it was still the same for Eswatini, who couldn't impose themselves on the game. The game was put to bed when South Africa won and converted a well-taken penalty. South Africa won the game with a convincing score of 2-0. Eswatini is in Group A together with South Africa, Zimbabwe and Angola, and the next game will be on Saturday against Angola in a do-or-die game if they will stand a chance of going through to the knockout stage. This year's finalists will earn a ticket to go to next year's Under-17 AFCON tournament that will be staged in Morocco. Reporting for Eswatini TV Sports News, I am Patizo Msibi, and pictures sourced from COSAFA TV.
That brings us to the end of our news bulletin. But before we wrap up, let's take a quick recap of the headlines. Third surviving member of Umsizi, who fought in the Second World War, has received gifts from His Majesty King Eswatini III. The Deputy Prime Minister says the church and government can play a huge role in ending teenage pregnancy in schools. The Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade says the new project that will support grassroots level women in the country will strengthen and ensure cooperation among Eswatini when doing business. Eswatini, that is all the news we had for you tonight. Up next is the weather forecast. Good night and God bless.
What makes Christmas so special? It's that little extra. And at Spar, we have thousands of extras. We're granting thousands of Christmas wishes and giving thousands of our customers free shopping, plus thousands in Christmas savings. Like Spar Extra Shelf Life Milk for only $26.99 and Kellogg's Cornflakes for just $39.99. Spar, the home of 1,000 little extras this Christmas.